Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is...
Good day. This is Dr. Kitty Adley coming to you from Self-Discovery Media, the host of Recovering the Whole of You. I hope everybody's had a great week so far and you're having an even better weekend. Coming to you from Nassau, Bahamas. We're having a rainy day. We don't ever have bad weather here. We call it liquid sunshine. And I'm so happy to share the show with you today with the physical therapist, Carla Turner. So, physical therapist, Carla Turner, so nice of you to join us. Please tell us where we're welcoming you from this afternoon or today.
Well, hi, it is actually evening where I am. I am in Newcastle upon Tyne in the United Kingdom. And actually, we had a little bit of rain, but we just had snow on the ground yesterday. So we're missing the sunshine right now.
I'll send you some after the call. I'll send you some. So is it really chilly up there now?
It definitely cold by Nassau standards.
Okay.
I've got on my woolies today, my woolly scarf and my big, massive woolly cardigan and gloves and woolly socks, everything woolly from head to toe. So it is freezing outside.
Man. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, but we know seasons change, so we look forward to that. So just tell us a little bit more about you, Carla.
So I'm a physiotherapist in the UK. I specialize in neuro-rehabilitation. In the role that I am in currently, I'm particularly involved in rehabilitating with really severe head injuries, including prolonged disorders of consciousness. And I work within a multidisciplinary team, which includes occupational therapists, neuropsychologists, speech and language, consultants, and we link in with various services sort of in the local area. And in that capacity, we don't have a unit ourselves. We go and we see our patients and our clients wherever they are.
Okay.
Sometimes that may be actually while they're still in the hospital. And most often than not, it is in some community dwelling. It might be their own home, or it could be on a rehabilitation care facility / care unit. And sometimes we see our clients at the local pool.
Interesting.
Or we take them to all sorts of interesting places. It depends on what that person's goals are and what we want to achieve for them. So it's a very interesting job. It's got a lot of diversity to it, a lot of opportunity for being creative in your practice and being flexible. And I love the aspect of actually working with a team wherever we go. Sometimes that team can extend to solicitors and case managers.
Okay.
And you would have persons who have had or in the middle of a medical legal case, or they have gone through that process, they have settled, and we have picked up on what their ongoing rehab needs are.
Great.
So quite interesting. Prior to this, I was working in a National Health Service, so it's a very different approach. Fundamentally, what I do as a physio doesn't change, but the context, in which practice does have an impact on sort of what you might be aiming to achieve.
Right.
And one of the privileges, I guess, of working within the private sector at the moment is actually the potential of what you aim to achieve just feels almost like limitless.
Right.
And you don't necessarily have that cap on your resources of time and what you can access. So it's good.
Good. When we met up a few weeks ago and we spoke about it, I was so fascinated about it because, as physical therapists, people tend to think we fix everything. And I guess in a sense we do. But what we really are movement specialists. We use movement to achieve wellness, to achieve recovery, to achieve well-being. And in your population, it's almost an extreme because movement is such, it's like the basic bedrock. And I said this would be a fantastic topic for us to have you talk to us about the importance of movement, because you're working with sometimes people who cannot move on their own. And you have to facilitate that process for them. And like you said, help them accomplish the goals. I don't want to say as unrealistic or as unachievable as they may seem. You're dealing with somebody that's completely compromised, and you actually have to be that mechanism of movement for them. So could you tell us just how important you think movement is? I know we've talked about it already, but from your point of view, the kind of people that you see, and take it to us, everyday people, how important movement is for health.
So in the sort of the caseload that I manage at the minute, sorry, I just lost my little balance there. So in the caseload that I manage, you're correct, the majority of the clients that I see, they are reliant on others to achieve movement of any sort. And that might be their carers, that might be support teams, that might be relatives, and it might be therapists. Depending on their situation, hopefully they have all of those people in place to support them. So from a physiotherapy point of view, moving is important to stop that person from seizing up, really. That's in a layman's term, because seizing up and stiffness then leads to pain.
Right. We have a saying.
Pain for everybody leads to irritability.
Mm-hmm.
And irritability means you are difficult to be with, to connect with, to enjoy life. So, starting on a really basic level, actually creating opportunities for that person to have their positions change when they are in sitting or lying down, that they are comfortable, is fundamentally about them having that sense of being comfortable.
Okay,
so actually that, from that level, particularly with my sort of prolonged disorders of consciousness, their comfort, whatever position they are, day and night, is so fundamental to the psychological and emotional recovery. Because quite often in those clients, their potential may not be so much to walk again, but it may be that actually they will find a way to communicate again with the outside world.
Right.
So in a weird way for me, my role as a movement specialist is to allow that person to be able to connect and communicate again. And they can only do that unless they feel at ease and comfortable. And there's something very special about when a physio comes to see you, because by definition, that person already expects you to be improving their situation.
Right.
And so they know that if you are still coming, the physio is still coming to see me, so there's an expectation that I'm still going to improve. And there's an importance in actually feeling that potential to improve and getting that confidence that things will improve. And so it's a very, very long road. for my clients, a very slow, long road. And I share their frustrations sometimes because nothing moves fast enough for them, you know. So for that clientele, that's why movement is so important. For the everyday person who may or may not have the challenge of pain or disability, or any kind of disease or condition that they might be living in, it's still fundamental. The movement is actually still fundamental to us connecting to the outside world. So that principle doesn't change. It applies across the board. Whether it's you've just been born and you need to you need to grip onto that finger that somebody's stuck in your hand, okay? Or if you are on the ward and you've just come out of surgery and you need to get up and move so that you can get that big breath through your lungs and get your digestive system working on your legs moving again and get that confidence that you are going to improve. Or if you are at the end of your life and that sense of dignity for you to be able to get up and move. So it is fundamental to our humanity almost to be able to move. So yes,
okay. And it's so good to hear you speak about it for that population, because I think the everyday person or the able-bodied person doesn't think about that. In our practices, we tell our patients, if you rest, you rust, meaning if you don't move your joints, you get stiff. And I always tell my patients, if you don't use it, you lose it, especially after you hit the ages of 35, 40, you start to lose muscle mass. And we have to work hard at maintaining that muscle mass. So there are physical activity guidelines. The WHO says that you need to have 150 minutes per week, 30 minutes of continuous movement, physical activity every day. And we preach that over and over again. And, that's, like I said, to the able-bodied population. And I just think that, listening to what you do on a daily basis, that you come in there and just by moving this person, you provide this whole holistic approach to their recovery, right? It's not just you moving them physically. Like you mentioned, it's the emotional, the psychological aspect of it, the ability for them to be able to communicate again. What really inspires you to stay with this field?
Oh man, when I was a student, I remember the first neuroscience lecture we had, and like my brain just woke up. Great, I love that whole muscles, alignments, attachments, and what they do and how they work. But it was the fascination of how the brain makes us move, makes us who we are. And that fascination stuck with me through my studies. And I was really lucky. I got a clinical placement within stroke rehab, and I fell in love.
Good.
That was it. And so when I did my initial rotations as a junior, I always knew that I wanted to do neuro. And so my last rotation as a junior physio was within stroke, and I moved on to a senior role where I rotated around acute brain injuries, stroke rehab, general neurology. I did quite a lot of neuro-oncology, and then sort of the long-term community rehabilitation. And I think it is the fact that when I treat a patient, a neurological patient, I have to be aware of what may be impacting them cognitively. That's how they might be processing the information I give them, whether they need me to say it slowly, to use drawings or movement or video for them to understand.
Okay.
That they need me to repeat it over and over through my session in different ways. Whether they will remember even to come to their physio session. I have to deal with that whole person. So my goal may be to improve that person's walking, to minimize their risk of falling, to maximize their balance, but I cannot ignore how they're going to get to me. Do they live alone? Have they got family support? Like I said, the cognitive side of things. Then there's the psychology. I cannot ignore the fear that they might have when they come to see me. You know, the word physio might actually be a fearful word to them. They may have a lot of preconceived ideas about coming to see me and the fact that I'm going to inflict pain on them or ask them to do the impossible. So the whole time I am treating this person and I am meeting them for the first time, or it might be the 6th time or the 30th time, I'm always dealing with that whole person. So for me, fundamentally, I think the inspiration is that actually I'm just getting that chance to connect with people all the time.
Awesome.
And I have to get into their heads.
Awesome. I am so grateful to you for serving this population. Right now, we are seeing an increase in chronic non-communicable diseases, and those are the cardiovascular diseases, the diabetes, and like you mentioned, your stroke population, the stroke population is increasing. What we also see the trend in health is that people are living longer, but they're dealing with what we call more morbidity, meaning that they have functional limitations, they can't move as much, and that word movement is there, that word function is there. And so we really need to have more workers in the field because the population is increasing in this area of condition, but also to speak on the other end of encouraging people that are healthy or healthier to make better lifestyle changes. Make sure that you incorporate the physical activity, the 30 minutes a day, the 150 minutes a week. And so, you know, thank you so much for doing what you do. If you had to leave a message with our listening audience today, what would that message be in terms of movement for health and movement for recovery?
I think when you talk about the able-bodied sort of healthy person, and a healthy person isn't necessarily for me somebody who is without disease,
right?
Okay, because you can still have a feeling of health and well-being and be going through lots of things. Okay.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate the feel-good factor you can get from moving. And I use the word moving as opposed to exercise. I know WHO wants us to do this 30 minutes a day. Now, depending on where you live, if you have to commute to work for an hour in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening, and you have to get home to your family, and you have to get the meals prepared and do homework, or you're involved in whatever that social activity and club is, etc., you might be thinking, how am I going to get 30 minutes of exercise into my schedule? I hardly have time to do what I am doing already. And what I would say is, you know what, even if you cannot get a 30-minute block, if you were to park your car that little further away when you go to work or to the shopping mall and take the stairs instead of the elevator or the lift, okay, if you decided, you know what, we could actually cross the road and walk down the corner to go to that next shop. We don't have to hop in the car, ride for 2 minutes.
Even though it's freezing outside.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Even though it's freezing outside.
Okay. And actually, it's strange. It's those little things that then become habits. I was very aware. I was traveling with my daughter recently when we came back to the UK. And I was feeling so proud. You know why? Because I don't know when this happened, but somewhere along the way, she realized that if mommy has a choice between the elevator and the stairs, mommy takes the stairs. I don't even have to say it to her.
Awesome.
If she decides to take the elevator, it's not an issue to me. But she decides to take the stairs because now she wants to race with me. so we now have this thing between us where fitness and that sense of what our bodies can do is almost a part of us having fun.
Good.
So there are ways, if you've got little kids at home, let me tell you something, you go roll around on the floor with them, play hide and seek, wrestle, whatever it is they are into, you will be exerting yourself, because as an adult, you haven't done that for at least 10 to 20 years. And you will be surprised when you get up from playing and you think, oh my goodness, I didn't even know I could still do that. So I would say actually look at your day and look at your routine. And it's probably the little small changes that you need to make rather than some major change where you have to go and sign up for gym membership for however many couple $100 a year or pounds or euros or whatever it is. And then I would say, make it fun. Make it something that you do with a friendship group or as a family. It then becomes a part of your identity as a group. It becomes a part of your socializing. And then it's not so much a chore.
Right.
Okay? You don't have to necessarily go and break out a heavy sweat. It would be great. We would like you to get your heart rate up, etc., etc. But if you are doing nothing, the next step for you isn't necessary to go and run a 400-meter, the next day. The next step for you is to find some activity that you can get involved in. And if you do it, I think, with other people, friendships and friendship groups or as families, it becomes a little bit more of a sustainable change, because then you've got that group who's looking for you. Hey, when are we going to do that again? Oh, hey, let's do that every Tuesday. Can we do that every Tuesday or every Wednesday? And just make that little small change in your routine.
Mm-hmm.
And when it can't work because it demands of work, give yourself a break and say, well, that day just couldn't happen. Park it and start again the next day. Because I think sometimes we kind of give ourselves too much of a hard time. We couldn't do it. We couldn't get it together because so much was going on. That's fine. That's the life we are living now. We live very busy, hectic lives. So I think it's difficult for us to think, oh my goodness, please, 30 minutes exercising. So that would be my advice for that sort of healthy population. Obviously, with some of my clients, I mentioned to you that we take them into the hydrotherapy pool.
Right.
And we use the warmth of the water and the physical principles of the water, the buoyancy, etc., to give that person a sense of freedom of movement that they will not get on dry land. And it's very rewarding to see, actually, because it surprises them. And even though you know why you're doing it, it's still a delight for you as a therapist to see how much more a person can achieve in the water. And if it's for somebody who completely has no control over their movement, just the joy of seeing them enjoy that sense of being in a warm water environment and feeling their body move into such flow and such ease, it's very rewarding. So I would say, it doesn't matter so much what your ability and level is. It's more about actually working with what you have, what you can access, who you can tap into to assist, So sometimes it's thinking creatively. I can't get the word out.
Creatively.
Yes, creatively. Yes.
So that's some great advice. That's some great advice. So what I'm hearing from you is, one, just try and fit it in and make it fun. If you can't fit it in, forgive yourself, but pick up the physical activity as soon as you can. You want physical activity with fellowship. And what I really love about what you said and what you described to us is the healthy modeling we as adults do for our children. And how you and your daughter do the let's race up the stairs, or let's see who can reach here the fastest. You know, I really, really enjoy that as well. For my own children, my own family, actually, yesterday we did a big walk. There was a Susan G. Komen walk in the Bahamas, and my entire family walked. And like, I was so excited. Like, I had my mom. She doesn't want me to say her age, but she's well senior. And to my grandson, who was 1, and then the kids in between. It was fantastic. And it's just promoting physical activity, getting everybody on board. So, Miss Carla, if people wanted to hear more about your neuro-rehabilitation and what you do, we can see your passion. We know you're passionate about it. You started to talk about your patients, and you start to move and sway, and you got all into it. If people wanted to hear more from you and talk more about what you offer and what you do, how could we reach you?
So I am currently employed for a company that's called Neuro-Pathways. So if you were to search neuro-pathways.com, then there's a link to my CV and my profile. I am on Facebook and also on LinkedIn.
And how do we find you on Facebook and LinkedIn? Is it Carla Turner?
You can find me on LinkedIn as Carla Turner.
Good stuff.
You will be able to find me on Facebook as Carla Turner.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for the time and the information that you shared. Just promoting movement from the person that can't move from themselves to the able-bodied people who sometimes take our movement for granted. I really appreciate the time that you shared with us and the tidbits that you dropped. And we'll probably pass back again so we can talk about something even more exciting. You know, physios, most of us are nerds. We love to do this. We love to share information. It's what we do.
Oh, yes.
And we could talk all day. But
all day.
Thank you so much again. And I just want to say thank you so much for our listening audience. I'm Dr. Kitty Adley. I'm a physical therapist. I am a oncology rehab physical therapist, breast cancer physical therapist, lymphedema therapist, all these wonderful things that help you recover better. And it is my joy and pleasure to take the time out and bring the information to you, to make the information more accessible. You can find me at Handling Your Health, Wellness, and Rehab on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn as Kitty Bonet Roll Adley, also on Facebook, Twitter at Kitty Bonet, and just search me. We're there. Feel free to ask questions, to please give us your comments and suggestions, and please let me know what you'd like to hear more of in our upcoming episodes. So signing off from Recovering the Whole of You, have a wonderful week, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you.
For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.